कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Yes, finally, after about 1300 episodes, we have a show with substance. You know, people say कि ये faff nahi chalega. Give us something. So finally, we do have something we can present. I've got an award-winning, super renowned, very talented mind specialist, let's call her, because I don't want to say psychiatrist, and because it just sounds very dry to say clinical psychiatrist and this and that. And all. Although, of course, you're a proper doctor, no doubt. But mind specialist, because mind is now the most important thing in the world. Ask Putin.
Yeah.
He lost his mind. And next thing we know, half the world is going to go to war. The book that she's just released is called Why Do I Feel So Sad, which is also the title of people listening to our show. You know, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
Everyone opens their morning
No
with
happy people are allowed to listen to.
There are no happy people left.
That is very true.
So you
made
must
the
be,
right diagnosis.
yeah, you're laughing
actually.
all the way to the bank. Everywhere you look, depressed, sad, finished, nowhere to go. But it's a live format, this show. So Dr. Shefali Batra, let me just get her name out first. What do we call you, Doc, or Shefali, or Mrs. Batra? Or
Well, I'm not Mrs. I'm
Miss.
But
Okay.
Doc is good.
Doctor is good, no?
All right, Meghnad, not to
Doctor?
flirt.
Doctor
She's single.
is good.
I didn't warn him. This guy is very badly
Did I
placed.
just made a public announcement?
Yeah,
that
what
I'm
did you do
single?
now? And we have such petty listeners that that's all they'll think about for the rest of the show. Oh, she's single. Huh?
Someone in chat already knows you, Shefali. He says,
Who?
I know this doctor. Damn. Tarun knows you.
Tarun Kaushik says, I know this doctor. Damn, that means he's worried. Damn ka matlab kya hai? That some secrets of Tarun Kaushik are with her.
I am a very scary person, so I've heard. I never thought so, but I have a whole bunch of people.
As a doctor, as just as a person.
As a doctor.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I'm always a doctor. You have no idea how much I'm reading your mind right now. So,
Really?
Yes.
Must have finished. There's not much there.
And doctors supposed to be scary though to handle patients.
I think
but
she's not meaning to be
that
scary.
Sigmund Freud look. I mean scary.
Like put fear in us.
Look, people actually tremble when they have a session. I've had people tell me that
Maybe the AC is very cold.
वो अलग बात
I
है. But
won't
I've
do.
had people tell me,
Yeah.
Doc, we won't take the session in the evening, because then we don't get sleep after we talk to you.
Wow.
So it's well, I'm not horror scary.
I was trying to promote you, but what you're saying is scaring everybody off now. They're
So,
coming in.
how
with
many
mental
patients come to you and say, why do I feel sad?
Oh, a lot of them. They inspired the book, to be
Mhm.
honest. They are the ones who too many questions. Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel sad? I mean, my first answer was, I think you're bad at math. And people don't
What?
really understand because
Okay.
they don't count their blessings and they only count their
perspective.
problems. So the book is basically a method to change perspective.
So let's come to that main point. Why do I feel so sad? So there are two types of. There's the depression which you know about literally. Like for example, I'm not getting paid by IVM properly, so I'm depressed. So that's clear. There's a finite,
Well, I'm
tangible.
damn depressed in life too. And I
Yeah,
say
no.
that.
So what I'm saying, we identify it. But what you just mentioned is about the depression. Why do you say a sentence like "Why do I feel so sad"?
Yeah.
It's like I'm depressed, but I don't know exactly why. So isn't that the core issue?
The first issue is yes, that at least there's a handful of people who know that they're depressed and they don't know why. And then there's the other truck full of people who don't even know that they're not okay.
And it's not to do with one issue, because when it's one issue, girl left you, career is not going the right direction, organ donation has started while you're alive, all these things.
But
Talking
people
about
don't
his-
even
myself.
know what depression is, to be honest.
That's what I'm
So-
just trying to clarify this whole thing because we discussed it before.
Hmm.
So there's like depression, which is like an illness,
Hmm.
aside from depression, which is to do with one thing, which we all get.
Okay.
Like you get
That
sad about
is
something.
Is that
where-
fair?
That is where the book is talking about
Right.
sadness as an emotion.
Arey, read the book now. Sorry.
But sun vi lo. So
Yeah. Sun lo.
Hmm.
So it's about the difference between sadness and depression. I don't think there's anyone who would admit that I have never, ever, ever felt sad.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in
Everyone
the
feels
world.
sad, yeah.
Sparsh has a relative who's drunk all the time, and he claims that guy never feels sad, but he's always drunk. So in a sense, he's medicated.
He's medicated in his own way. Alcohol is the largest self-medication for depression.
So
And so
just
people...
quickly tell people we are here to promote alcohol. This is the one podcast which allows it. So
No, I'm sorry.
No,
We're
no.
letting you know that if you are drinking, that means you might be depressed.
Oh,
Because
right.
you might be trying to escape something.
So how do you
should you drink more or
identify it?
drink less in this case?
I don't drink at all, for example.
Neither do I. It's this guy. But he
Wow.
Sharabi.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. But
Oh.
how do you identify?
So actually the book is introducing that concept very well. It's giving you simple checklists and tools, and it's like a handbook.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a little worry when the book was coming out, because if it does well, I will be completely jobless, because
Ah.
everything
Oh, the
that
answers are all, it's like a Bible.
it is like you
So
read
we
the
can save
Bible.
money. No, no, no religious point here. We're only promoting alcohol, I told you, nothing else. No, so the point
The
being
book
that,
has
yeah,
answers to everything. Yes, it
wow.
actually tells you how you're depressed. I've put in the technical DSM criteria,
Hmm.
the international criteria for depression, and whether this is sadness or it has become more enduring and it's now depression. So there's all of that.
So
And then
what do you say to people who don't take it? Well, let's say seniors in the family, for example, yeah, has husband to wife or wife to husband or whatever, who just think that you're nakrabazi, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of people who honestly
but,
unmacho behavior. Why stop this?
but
But you did
there's
mention perspective.
perspective. It's all perspective, but also there's that fine line. I have a whole bunch of people who are depressed because people don't acknowledge their depression.
Yeah.
So I said, but what are you in the first place? What are you depressed about? No, I'm depressed about the fact that my family doesn't realize that I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
No,
like a
it's
self-serving cycle then. Yeah.
self-serving. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely right. And I think it's self-defeating. You're calling
Yeah.
it self-serving because people think it's so people fall in love with their depression.
so they
Oh,
glamorize
wow.
it. You're saying they glamorize it after some time.
Yes,
I'm a
after
depressant.
they
Huh.
over fantasize.
Hmm.
See, a very
Dilip
different
Kumar, for
first.
example, in most films.
But is it a good idea to tell people that you're depressed? That's also a question.
This
Like,
is
I
a
mean,
personal point because he's just been driving us mad for the last 2 days.
of course. Like,
Rishi
yeah.
nearly
We
quit.
will have a private appointment after this to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
That sounds like an invite. Behave yourself. What the hell is that?
no, but I think it's important to talk, but you don't have to broadcast it on social media, for
Yeah. Yeah.
example. But
Mm.
I think it's important to talk to the right people. And it doesn't always mean that a professional like me is the first go to person. I
Hmm.
would say you start off with someone you can trust,
Like
someone
your
who's
watchman. I always feel he's the best one to talk to. Because
Wow.
because they
there
don't.
is
Cyrus. Like,
this railway train syndrome.
Yeah,
People
strangers are the best people. People
wait,
don't
what is
know.
the railway train syndrome?
I'll let her explain. She's the
Yeah,
expert.
exactly.
मैं चुप
Yeah.
रहेगा.
no, that's my own neologism though. But nonetheless, imagine catching a train from Virar and coming all the way to town, and you have some 2.5 2 hours on the train, and you see the same person sitting at the same spot, and you don't know their name, you do not know their
Yeah,
number, you don't know anything about them, and you just start talking about your life because you know that
you're open.
you're open because it's safe. It's
Oh.
safe.
So
The
that's
person
that's what I
doesn't
was
even
saying.
know
Hmm.
you. The person doesn't know you,
I,
and
I agree. I totally agree with this point. I feel more comfortable talking to people I don't know.
Yeah.
that's why the watchman. But
Yeah.
but
See the
he's
genius in our stupidity? Nobody's picking it up
No,
yet.
but that's the thing that happened to me. So, like, I started going to therapy 2 months ago, and I refused to Google anything about my therapist. I was
but
like, I will.
that's very good.
Yeah, I was
Why
like,
why
I am
That's
going to
why
go
is it a
in.
positive or negative to know about the
No,
therapist?
because I don't want to like create like assumptions about my
Ah,
therapist right when I go in, and I'm
but again,
actually.
then is that a flaw that you tend to make assumptions? That would be a question.
100%
I
he
have
does.
been asked that, and that is a flaw. I mean,
Mm.
I do that. I
But
think everybody does that
Meghnad
to a
is a
certain
very you
extent.
don't may not know about him. He's like a satirist.
no, no,
He's an old fashioned sort of in one way journalist also,
Mm.
and he's also somebody who's very sensitive to the world around him, unlike say me or Sparsh. So having said that, his depression is much more, I would say, intense. So do
Mm.
you want to talk about it or just touch the surface?
No, so like for example, like so I was told that I am getting lost in video games. So
You
I
were
I just
used
told
it
said
as a
by
intellectual and this and that, and
word
you were told by
by
not
the
by
therapist
the
actually.
therapist.
So like like that.
So you mean you're getting one with the fantasy figure? You mean
I
in
it was
the
like I'm trying to escape all the time from
I would
basically.
like to interrupt here, Dr. Shefali, because the therapist is also actually a vet who treats his Pomeranian. So it's not a classical therapist. So
Okay.
his therapist?
Yeah.
yeah, just in Delhi they save money. Like they just go
Yeah.
to one doctor for everything. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. That
go
that's
ahead,
what
sir.
it is.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that like so as escapism, as far as escapism goes, and that.
But video games in general, they they put you into a fantasy world,
Hmm.
and it really depends on what you do a lot. Whatever you do, you tend to get into it. So
Yeah.
if you're getting into video games again, what kind of games are you watching? And
I
some
don't
people
think
just
they're
A
very
lot of fantasy.
very vulgar,
Yeah.
Doc. I don't
but
discuss
you
them.
know you play them
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them.
It's only men without clothes. He's got strange.
But you are watching them too. Then.
No, I just ask him what he's doing, then he
And
shows
he's so
me.
honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I mean, I'm very honest about everything. Okay.
No, that's it's nice that you're saying it. You've been very open about saying that you're
So
visiting
is that a good
therapist.
idea though? That's what I
Also,
was
he
coming
doesn't
to.
strike us. We work with him on an almost daily basis. Doesn't
You
strike
don't,
us
it
as
doesn't strike
repressant.
you that he might be
No,
feeling what
not
he's
at
feeling.
all.
See, that's the whole point. You hide your depression behind a mask, and just because you wear a mask of happiness, it doesn't mean that you are happy.
But
And
it's not just happiness. He's an expressive guy. He's not one of those quiet guys that you have to think about him. So I don't know where it came from. To be honest, I'm
but
disappointed.
that's the see.
How dare
That
you?
is so
Yeah.
wrong.
He's the example, okay?
He's the
This is
perfect, he's the perfect
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
example, and you are the perfect right
yeah,
example.
yeah.
So
So you have both now
I have
to
both.
play with.
No, but you're talking openly about it, and I
Hmm.
think that's it's a confident thing to do. Again, it depends. I wouldn't think that this would be very, very serious depression.
No, it's
I
not.
don't
No.
We haven't
know
met his
much.
wife now. We don't know.
Mm.
No,
We have pictures. Would
the
you like
guy
to
who
see?
said that
Oh.
I take a lot of antidepressants,
Mhm,
and the wife decides to leave him. That you're taking too many antidepressants, and what are you up to? And he says, "Good, because when she leaves me, I won't need antidepressants."
Oh,
Oh,
doctor!
God.
You smashed this out of the park. We got our first formal joke on the show in 5 years. Excellent. Yeah.
No, but no, it's really perspective. And there's another way of looking at it that. I shouldn't be saying it as a doctor, but it's perspective that people who say they are depressed and who keep talking about it, they tend to have a lot of time on hand because they are overthinking and creating problems out of something which isn't really a problem. Now I said it's perspective. I wouldn't say they're making a problem out
But
of
are we
nothing.
belittling the thought process by having this
No, the
conversation?
book is full of that. It's pages and pages of faulty thinking. So when you
No, as
identify
the bystander, the outsider, are we, by not taking them seriously, are we doing the right thing or wrong thing? That's what I'm asking.
it's that fine line, you give them attention but don't give them over attention so that they glamorize their depression.
Hmm.
You support them and help them out of it. So what I do as a professional is the importance of therapy. The whole premise is that I understand your problem, but I have a good shoulder. I mean, it's a small shoulder, but I give people my shoulder to cry on. But I tell them, hey, I don't want to just watch you cry. I want you to change. I want you to change. And people, there's a form of, I don't know what therapy you've gotten
Hmm.
it, but it's supportive therapy wherein I'll just give you my shoulder to cry on
Yeah.
versus cognitive therapy.
So that's just listening, is it?
Mostly listening and saying, hey,
And you're charging $20,000 and you just keep quiet. I like this. This is good stuff. Let's write this
It's
down.
basically-
If this show doesn't work, this is what we're going to do. Huh.
It's basically like I go to my therapist and I basically rant essentially.
And she doesn't
And
say
I
anything.
tell her what is up. I also text her sometimes when I'm feeling down and
How come it
everything.
was a
And
female therapist, not a male? What is this sexism?
I
Oh,
was
there
sent
is
like
a theory behind female therapists, by the way.
What
So
is
I
that?
used to get it. No, I used to get it from my male colleagues, my male colleague doctors. They said there's this bad luck that we guys have that if you're a male therapist, since you're planning a career switch, you can join me.
Yeah,
With a
yeah,
medical
of
degree,
course.
I'll buy in the
Join
other.
me.
oh
Yeah,
god, he'll
correct.
be a nightmare as a therapist. He'll not let anyone talk. Is that
No, but the theory was that girls like to talk to females and men like to talk to females.
True. I agree with
That's
this.
very true.
So
Yeah.
I said, good, gender wise, I'm safe.
Wow, you
for
killed the market.
business.
The
Yeah.
other guys don't have a chance because they're born. This is how men have suffered over the
it's
ages.
also
We're always getting the short end of the stick.
it's also why I trust female doctors just generally
Listen,
more
you're a
than male
pervert.
doctors.
Just stop lying about all this.
No,
Yeah.
the thing about therapy of being understood, it starts from a very maternal sort of an instinct. And so a caring figure is, female appears to be more caring.
I think that's a fair assumption.
It's a fair
I think we all
assumption.
feel more safe with that, as you say, the female figure, mother figure, if you
Female
like,
touch, yeah.
initially. But we interrupted your thing about, you were saying, so there are different forms.
The cognitive,
Yeah.
So the supportive approach wherein you get the support and that shoulder to cry on,
Right.
and people feel that, hey, there's someone to listen to me. And then the other approach is the cognitive approach, which I take. And so I do get a lot of flack for it because a lot of people think that, Doc, you're not understanding. I said, do you realize I'm understanding and I'm going one step further to actually correct the way you're thinking, because the way you're thinking and the way you're going, we need to change. But a lot of people are not willing for that. So that willingness to change, that's a chapter in my book too, that
But going back to the first theory, when they went and
supportive.
talked to you and you're just the shoulder or whatever, that's also good enough sometimes because they just need to talk.
They need to talk, but
So
that's
in that
like,
case, you're not giving advice.
Not really.
that's not what I do, because my advice or guidance starts from
No, fair
my
enough. But
first
I'm saying
session.
whoever does that
Yeah, like-
technique.
So
Yeah,
that
let
also-
me tell
yeah.
you how that works. That's more like an immediate gratification. That's like, not saying it's the same
you
as a
feel
shot
like,
of
thing is off your shoulders.
it's off my
Yeah,
shoulder.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
feeling so good. And so I have someone, the first session obviously is mostly that, listening to the problem, and people say, hey, I'm feeling good, but then on the third day they're not feeling good anymore.
Oh, so it's like a band-aid treatment.
It's like a band-aid treatment. It's like a shot of alcohol.
So then why is that there then? If it's not a real...
We move to the next step
Okay,
only.
step-by-step
You go in the
process,
first
okay,
gear
get it.
and
I
then
get
into
it, yeah.
fifth. You
But
don't
like-
fly.
So will my therapist move to that second
Well, I
step
think-
at
I would
some
hope
point,
so.
or is it like she stays there?
I
or
don't know
what?
your therapist.
Bro, she might hear this thing. She follows your life then.
No, but like, okay, so with cognitive therapy,
So,
so like,
very few people are trained in it and really follow it deeply. A lot of people stick with the supportive approach. So
okay.
it takes a lot of training and a lot of
But you're
power.
saying your colleagues criticize you for doing cognitive therapy or whatever it's called.
No. See, I'm actually a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
So
she's
I'm
a
a medical
psychiatrist. Yeah,
doctor,
yeah.
and most therapists
Why
come
is the
from
P silent?
a psychiatrist.
For psychiatrist.
Since childhood, it drove me mad. I just couldn't understand. Now I have to say this extra word with but write an extra P.
You're a pseudo liberal.
It's too much, yeah. It's like Haritik Roshan. What is Haritik? It's Haritik. Where did the Haritik come from? Nonsense the way these guys treat us, really. I got depressed because of that, by the way. Huh.
We have my book and we have me.
Yes,
Yeah.
so-
page 3, so it'll take me some time.
So go on.
Yeah.
Cognitive therapy again.
So cognitive therapy. Again, cognitive therapy works when you have a certain degree of cognitive evolution. Like, we don't do cognitive therapy. Cyrus is
The way she
laughing.
looked at me and said that. It's like, hey,
I was also-
mental dwarf ko nikalo studio se. Then we can
No.
talk.
So at some point, you remember you said vet. There's behavior
Mhm.
therapy,
Mhm.
which is just focused on behavior. So do you have pets?
Yes,
I do.
I do.
You have a
Yeah, we
dog.
both have.
I have a dog.
Yeah.
You have a dog.
Plus,
too.
I have relatives I pat. But
I
they're
have a
old.
cat, and my cat is, I call him Puppy Cat because he's like
How
a dog.
sweet. Yeah.
Because he follows me.
That's so
and
secular. Yeah. Why label them? That's right.
Because
That's
the obedient ones are dogs.
That's why, like the
Yeah.
poor in India, they called dogs tigers. You know, say, hey, tiger, and it's a
Mhm.
small Pomeranian. So
Mhm.
beautiful. Only in India. Yeah.
No. So where was I?
Ah.
Behavior therapy versus cognitive therapy.
Mhm.
So there is supportive, which is we just listen.
Mm.
Then there's behavior wherein we don't work on your thoughts. If we are not mentally evolved, then we can't use cognitive. So in
that's horrible.
No, hang on.
Now you know the client is crap. You know, it's like, come on.
Cyrus.
ना बड़ा moron में doggy के जैसा ball fetch करो ball fetch करो.
No, but मैं बता रही थी वो
हाँ,
बॉल
हाँ,
फेच करना
हाँ.
बॉल फेच करो तो ट्रीट मिलती है right?
Yes.
So behavior therapy
Positive
works
reinforcement.
on positive reinforcement. See, he knows.
Yeah.
I studied
So-
this subject. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where behavior therapy, it works on reinforcement strategies.
Mm.
That if I do this, then I feel like this. And that's just behavior. So, for example, again, my book covers it. If you just choose to stay alone when you're not feeling good, you
Mhm.
say, "Hey, I don't want to meet anyone. I'm such a sad slob. I
Yeah.
don't want to step out.
Yeah.
Let's just forget that party. I'm talking
Yes.
about you, right?
Yes.
I just got a
We do
message
this.
from someone this
I'm
morning.
very unsocial.
I got
in
a
real
message
life.
from someone this morning that, Doc, I've been seeing you since a few years, and you decided to make me the subject of your book. You've written this book only for me. I said, I'm flattered to hear that, because I have it from a lot of people who say that you've written this book for me. So that was one of my goals, that it should
Hmm.
sound you when
Like
you
an
read it.
astrologer, you have done it. Like astrologers
I
also.
warn
like,
people,
But then that
I
sounds
read
like a
mine.
This is
generic-
about me.
There's a generic reaction where everybody feels the same.
You
So
know,
they identify themselves.
I mean,
with-
my editor wouldn't mind saying, that I'm saying this today, but when she did the first long, detailed read, the copy editor, she called me and said, Doc, I could identify with so many things in this book. So I hoped that people who read it will think that I'm saying their story, because all of us go through the similar things. Actually, I enjoy reading my book right now, thinking that it's written by someone else. I'm like, hey, this is nice. Hey, I feel like
And
this.
that's why it's important to talk out loud when you have a platform.
But
yeah.
do you ever want to go to a
Yeah,
psychiatrist
yeah,
yourself?
yeah.
I go to friends. They are
Who are psychiatrists or just
no.
cognitive conversation thingy?
No, I know all the cognitive principles, and if I'm not able to use those on myself, I've written a book on cognitive therapy.
Well, how
I-
to objectively
And
look at
that
yourself.
is why my friends are the best therapists for me.
But these are friends who are just friends. I mean, they're not
Hmm.
medical practitioners of any kind.
They could be medical practitioners or some specialty because I'm
Huh.
a doctor.
Huh.
Yeah.
But no, they are not psychologically inclined. But
But
they
you
still...
sort of treat it as a session. You actually talk to them like
no,
you
I
would.
don't treat it as a session.
Yeah.
My nieces are my best therapists.
Right.
I mean, there was someone trolling me, and she said, "Masi, just don't bother. I mean, they don't really care about you. They are trolls, and
Want a
they
reaction.
want a reaction, and they're
Mhm.
going to forget in 2 days." And they forgot.
Oh no! So okay, so I have to basically talk about
तू
this.
depressed बन गया
No, oh no,
हाँ?
they
इस
don't
कहानी की
forget.
वजह से
There was
depressed हो
an
गया?
intense
So this guy's
reaction.
nuts, yeah. Can I say the word nuts? It's nuts okay?
They don't forget. I have Sanghi
The-
relatives who
the trolls.
basically
No, one second. Let's
Uh,
understand. Her issues, controversies are to do with being a psychiatrist. Yours are to do with attacking governments and all. So people...
trolls are trolls.
Yes, but the thing is, those trolls are proper professional trolls.
Yeah, I was being trolled, and I didn't want to get depressed. But
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
But the okay, so I have some Sanghi uncles, right? So I
Actual uncles, huh? No, not
actual
uncles.
Matlab,
relatives.
Blood
Taya
relative,
ji,
blood
chacha
relative.
ji,
Yeah,
mama
yeah,
ji.
relatives, right? For years, they have been doing this to me, right? They basically track my work very diligently, more than the government, I would say. And then they would take screenshots of any time I criticize the government or Adarniya Modi ji or whatever,
Starting.
and then they
This is why he's depressed.
post it in my family groups. Okay.
Okay.
And then essentially it made it so uncomfortable for me to go to family gatherings because everybody would look at me suspiciously. I could just feel it.
Hmm.
And like I
But
got,
then, do you have to
It comes
react
from an-
to it?
but that's the thing. I didn't react for years. I didn't react.
No. There are two aspects to a reaction. First is you feel, and second is you react. Both are
Ah.
reactions in a way.
Mm.
Because
But you know what they did?
So you should, by not reacting, don't you like it become like a
It's
cancer
worse.
and bottles up and all
Yeah.
that?
But then
It's
they
like a
go
volcano.
they
This
go a
is why
level.
I always punch the guy on the road who cuts me.
look at your size,
and-
dude. You can punch also. I can't even punch.
That's not the right answer.
No.
Somehow I feel that's the wrong answer.
Listen, you look like you work out to punch. I mean, I need to do something if I have to punch people. Or I have to walk around with you so that you can punch people.
Yeah.
No. I'm a pacifist. I'm just lying, please.
Yeah. But then they go a level above, right? They called my mom. Like whenever I say something or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, tell your son to shut up." And why is
So
he
this is the
against
thing
me?
about,
Whatever.
can I just tell you the story here? Meghnad is very anti, let's say, the past.
Authority.
Authority in general,
Yeah.
but this government especially.
Yeah.
So that there are some of people in his family who are right-leaning, if you want, or whatever. So it's a political debate that goes on. And he's like the black sheep in the family.
Yeah.
So he's going to get a lot of that, right? I don't know why he would take that seriously because he's taken a stand and that's what
So
you get.
that's where we're coming. It's reacting in the receptive stage of reaction and then the expressive stage of reaction. So you are receiving it and not feeling good about it, and you're keeping quiet about it. Now, after that, what would you do? You would withdraw. You're not.
Yes, I avoided family functions.
Oh,
I
you
don't go
avoided
to
only because of
weddings.
this?
Yeah, I don't go to weddings.
Because you don't have get into this whole conversation with
Also, like every time I meet them,
Avoidance.
they just want to attack me for something that I said or whatever,
it's
right?
also because he's short. I feel if he was taller,
yeah.
that would have-
That's also
But
one of
I'm
the reasons.
also
like-
very short.
Yeah.
Why is it always about you, doctor? What the hell? Let's hear the patient.
Like, I don't want to talk about politics. I want to talk to you about, how is your life going? How are your kids? Whatever. Like normal conversations. Nobody wants to have normal conversations with me.
But that's
Like
because
it's
of,
always about this. What are you doing? Why are you
Again,
such
now
an
Cyrus
activist?
will say it's all about me.
Go on.
No, but I get that a lot too, right? Because I'm always therapist and psychiatrist. So it, that hat that you wear kind of sticks with you. But you've got to have a way to stand up and get out of that role,
And
because
funnily
you're-
enough, I did. So like my mom. So one call came yesterday, right, to my mom from her uncle,
Oh,
saying that like that's why it's in the surface of my head right now, like where she's
and
like.
she gets upset.
So the thing is, I really have to credit her. She never once told me to shut up, right? She's also been like,
poor thing is getting the
yeah, she's
calls.
getting. I feel uncomfortable. My parents also go to these functions. Unlike me, they can't avoid it.
Mm.
So they go and then they feel very uncomfortable there, and I know it. They don't say it to me. But today she called me and told me I stood up. I told the
That's
uncle to
nice.
shut the fuck up. I told him, ki, like you don't understand what my son does, so you please stop. You're a retired fool
I can
who just
see
is
how he
obsessed.
feels about it. It's just such a
But he
strong.
got support here from his mom. So
Yeah. And for the first time in 9 years, like, I mean, till now, she used to tell me this happened. But today, for the first time, she told me that, listen, I stood up. I
Mm.
told him
Your
off. I
mom-
told
your
him
mom sounds
that
good.
your kids don't like you. I was like, whoa, that's a bit.
My mom, whenever people criticize me, say, why didn't you take him? It's like totally different reaction.
Yeah.
And then they stop talking because they
Mm.
feel they don't want to answer that question. So it ends there.
But
Yeah.
that's the sort of affirming feeling. So I realized this, that
But
I
maybe you've
wanted
just
that.
taken it for too long, and
Yeah.
Also,
you've bottled
maybe he's
it
feeling
up
isolated
within.
because until his mom there took his side, nobody's taking his side.
Hmm.
He's like always the outsider. So maybe that's why he doesn't want to go there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, it's like I've been avoiding going home also sometimes.
But
where
then
it's
look
like,
at the strategies that you're using. So point number one, you're getting sensitive,
Yeah.
and you're taking it personally.
Yeah.
Again, there's a chapter called personalization in the book. Now, people are expressing their views. People are not against you. People are against your viewpoint.
I know.
And that's where we're making a
This
mumble
is what
jumble
they
of.
told Munawar Faruqi when they put him in jail for 2 months.
This is not about you.
Yeah.
This is not about. It's about your views.
Yeah.
You
It is
know,
actually, it's a correct answer. Huh?
But
Sorry.
No,
interestingly
but-
enough, they're kids, right? When I talk to them, they're also like BJP supporters, etc. But they have a very reasonable conversation with them because they're doing other things in their
So
life.
there is something about the next generation. I mean, and in fact, our, like my nieces, in fact, I call them a very strong generation. They're very live and let live.
And a little more sensitive actually without knowing it.
They are fragile and sensitive, yes, in a different way. They're slightly overprotected and they have life easy, because the gadgets they grow
They
up with, the
inherited the earth.
exposure,
Yeah.
they inherited everything.
Mhm.
Yes, the whole universe, not just the
Yeah.
earth. But besides that, I mean, they are very open. Like my niece, my therapist, who said, Masi, they just don't bother with them. And so I don't bother.
But it's actually very easy to say that, I would
it's
say,
easy to
because
say.
No, I think it's also
everything.
who's saying it to you. She has faith in her niece. She may be young or whatever,
Yeah.
but she has faith in her that the sincerity of her affection is really top notch.
So my sister does that
Cyrus,
to me
you
as
can
well.
totally be my assistant.
Okay, no.
Always
please,
number two.
No,
Huh?
no.
It's like the picture 99. Sauran kabhi banayega.
No. Dr. Shefali, no. Just no. I reject this idea right now. Do
then
not
you won't
let it
consult
evolve.
me.
No.
1 second. Nurse Braganza. Let me tell you.
No, I refuse. Do not take him anywhere near you, near your profession, please. But the thing is, my sister does this to me, right? Like, why are you bothering? Just let it be. Whatever.
Is she
But-
younger?
Yeah, 10 years younger than me.
Wow.
There's
So-
something about these young ones.
Yeah,
They know how to let
exactly.
things go.
Exactly.
We take things too sensitively.
Yeah,
So that personalization, that it's not you.
I want
So
that
two things here
superpower.
that what you're saying, if I'm right, is one, the person is batting for you.
Yeah.
A genuine person who bats for you, who's on your team genuinely,
Hmm.
and whatever the age may be. And secondly, there's a certain wisdom which they may not know they have.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's also about that affirmation, right? When you're especially isolated. I don't know if this applies to depression also, but if you feel isolated, it's very important for someone in your family or someone who knows you to tell
To-
you that I'm on your side,
Yes.
right? I'm on your side. You don't need to feel alone.
Do you like being hugged?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, by strangers on the road.
Uh,
Come, take the Virar,
that would be
especially at the right
awkward.
time.
that
You
would
get a
be-
lot of feeling
That's
touching.
very-
Wait, where did this come from?
I don't know, but you were discussing about taking a Virar to town.
No,
I have a-
I was
just look at
talking
this-
about conversations, not
Huh.
about physical contact and hugs.
No, I was talking about the fact that I have a guy here, this young engineer who comes from Panvel every day. 2 hours, 15 minutes is the journey.
Hmm.
Every single day. And it's not like he's, coming to a great job. He comes to... So I would think depression should set in 6 months maximum.
Yeah.
What do you
But
feel?
maybe he's got a good attitude.
He's got
And
a
I
great
can see him smiling. I
He's
mean,
got a
just
great
look at
attitude
him.
because Manchester City is winning.
Yeah.
The day that changes, we'll see what happens.
Okay,
Because
so
that's his
then
crutch.
he will feel sad
Yeah.
probably, but then that won't endure and it won't
But will he have a niece?
linger.
Ye to bachcha hai. Niece will be 8 years old. I don't know how wise she can
No,
be.
He has
Rishi
you.
is one of the happiest people in IVM. I can
Yes.
see it. Like,
Yes.
whenever he's present,
Hey,
it's
Meghnad,
just happiness.
Meghnad, Baba, everything is happy at this age, okay? You should have seen me. I was bouncing off the wall. Wait till your parents get old and start having problems. Wait till you get married and have kids who have problems. Wait till bills have to be paid when parking is not available, when your hair is falling, when your organs are failing. Life sucks!
Yeah, I'm going through
The
that.
answer to why
Yeah.
do I feel so
I've
sad.
entered that territory, I
Yeah,
feel
you're
like.
coming into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tribe of pain.
Yeah.
Wait, and there's
It's like there are pains in your body which didn't happen before, and you're
Yeah.
surprised that, wait, ye
You
kab
are-
hua?
Kab
when
hua?
you
Like,
wake
it's
up,
like-
you have to check
40
कि
के
सब
बाद
कुछ
हुआ
है.
ना 40 के बाद होता है ना
हाँ.
सब.
yeah, when-
Turning point.
yeah, and then I'm like, oh shit, I need to exercise.
I think
so
she's,
then,
Doc is asking you like you're 60. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not
No,
60.
Tell us about the early days.
So I don't know how old you are.
I'm
though.
33.
But he looks much
Damn,
older. No?
I
I'm
didn't-
51.
Yeah, wait, is that a damn you're so
I'm
young or
pretty
damn you're
close
so
to-
old or what is that?
I don't know what to say.
No,
Does
I
that help? Having a younger sort of energy in your head? Some people seem to
Ye-
age faster because they have that attitude problem.
But energy is not in the chronological age, no. Energy
That's
is
what.
in the way you see things.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I mean, look at Joe Biden, how sprightly running a car. No, not really.
I know I take affirmation from this fact. I have this very old relative who recently passed away. He basically sits down every month, takes his phone book,
one
old
sec,
school,
sits down.
sits down at his
Used to
home.
sit down.
Used to sit down. I'm
Sat
sorry.
down
Shit.
to save time.
Like,
I mean,
Uh,
God
with the
rest his
ghost
soul.
situation, huh?
But he used to sit down every month, and he would go through his entire phone book to call his grandchildren and related cousin grandchildren's
I
and
do
saying,
that
just asking, how are
sometimes.
you doing? Is everything good? Are you okay? Is your wife okay? Oh, good, good, good. And then every
I
month.
read this just, I think, yesterday on 25 things that a depressed person should do. I mean, of course, I
Hmm.
write books, but
Yeah,
then
the moment
I
they give a
still.
number, I get worried. You know, like this wrong data is coming.
25.
Yeah,
25
16 ways
things,
to
yeah.
skin a gorilla. I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
5 reasons why I feel sad.
No. I didn't put 5. I didn't put
Your free
5.
session is cancelled. See, this is the problem.
Oh, so there was one free session? Or
I
how
was
many?
thinking this is a session na, abhi chalu ho gaya.
Yeah.
Okay,
We are
so
full-
one free session.
Yeah.
Number to it. No, but where was my point?
Now,
We got stuck
you're
on the
saying you
number.
like I
No, you're talking about that 25
Yeah,
reasons.
25
25.
reasons, yeah.
So one was, this is not as much about your uncle as it is about his children and grandchildren, that there's someone who just called me to ask how I am. So if I go to a subway or anywhere I go, I'm first ask the waiter, how are you doing today? And I've actually sometimes gotten where taxi drivers, Uber
They're
drivers,
great. I love talking to them. Yeah.
firstly, तुम बीड़ी पीते हो? हाँ मैडम पीता हूँ, नहीं पीनी चाहिए. Then my whole therapy session starts on and quit smoking and something or the other. And once this little old man, he was talking about his diabetes and नहीं मैं नहीं कराऊंगा, I won't get it checked. And long drives and long therapy sessions start all the time. People want to be heard. It's that
But as a business model, I feel there's something wrong with this because he's getting good advice from you and you're paying him.
I know, but then that's the little bit of good that we have to do in the world.
You're spreading
right?
some good in the world,
Too much,
essentially. We have to take a break, Cyrus,
we have to take a break. Right,
and
that's
then we
right.
will come back, and then I want to talk more about your book. Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, our podcast has gone premium. It's called Club Cyrus Says. You can be a member. Join now. Don't waste any more time. In fact, don't listen to me. Just go and join. You'll get exclusive tidbits, features, insights, all kinds of stuff that nobody else will get. It'll be just for you. Join now. Become a member of Club Cyrus Says. Ji haan.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcasts Network. On Simplified, Naren, Chuck, Shriketh, and Tony share their thoughts on a quote, which goes, "The opposite of belonging is fitting in." They talk about vulnerability and belonging. On page 10, Meghnad and Abbas are joined by award-winning journalist Shrishti Jaswal. They discuss the release of ex-MP Anand Singh from prison, Indian journalists under surveillance, and Fox News host Tucker Carlson's firing. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita talk about Aryan Khan's new startup, De-Evol, Reliance acquiring HBO programming for JioCinema, ChatGPT's new competitor, and more. And on Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Amit, and Ayushi discuss why a Bengaluru man was rejected by a landlord, the GTA Gurugram version, and Bihar's training school for breaking into ATMs. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcasts.com. We have some exciting stuff for you. Follow us on social media via IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week. Cash Free Payments and HDFC Mutual Fund, thank you for making this possible.
Oops.
And here we are with Dr. Shefali Batra, who's fiddling around for some reason. Obviously, ADD is setting in. Don't worry, I'm the right
It's
person.
contagious. I got it from you.
All three of us, actually. And I just want to ask you before we get back into it, the book is called Why Do I Feel So Sad? If you're just joining in, please, people, depression is the new bimari that everybody's talking
It
about.
is not a new bimari.
In post-pandemic,
It is a new topic.
It's a new
yes,
topic.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
trying to highlight things. They treat me with such disrespect. Yeah. So after the pandemic, but you would say that, right? The pandemic has exposed it more.
30% at some time in 2020 when the publisher Jeco approached me, the depression rates had soared to the point that 30% of the world's population was depressed.
30% of the world's population.
Was
That's a ridiculous.
depressed.
What is
Yes.
that?
I mean,
wow,
we
that's
of
a lot
course
of people.
didn't analyze
Plus
everyone,
the
but
whole of China. So that's straight away, 40%.
And now it's whole of India.
But that was
Because we are the most
according
populous
to you,
now.
that's 2014.
we are the most
Yeah, we are the
populous.
most
Yeah.
populous. Yeah.
I know we're number one in density and
Yeah.
number now.
Wasn't
Yeah.
there a survey that says that India has the most depressed people also?
You know how many we do? Obviously
We do because we have the most
Have you-
people. We have
and
the
it's-
most iPhone users.
Also, yes.
no, but
of
we have
course.
it because of Salman Khan's latest song where he sings Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Yeah, you're obsessed with
Yeah,
that
I'm
song,
just-
aren't
that's-
you? Yeah.
The boys played it in the gym in the morning and drove me nuts, man. And then they laughed and laughed, and we all tried to practice the dance after that.
Yeah.
I can't get my. I mean, they're educated people who make that film. On one hand, the Telugu industry is going to the Oscars, Hindi film industry is going to Nickelodeon. I don't know what's going on.
This is actually a great segue.
No, can I?
Go on.
We'll segue back there.
Yeah.
I want to just ask about Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who, of course, is one of the richest and most powerful women in India, and who wrote the foreword. Two questions. One, is she Prithvi Shaw's relative, the cricketer? And secondly, how did that happen?
We
How did
approached
she
her
write
and
the forward?
No, in the sense,
Is what he's
How
asking.
did she-
is she a patient? Is she someone who's...
no. She's someone who cares about the cause.
Okay.
And if you read the foreword that she's written, because even my note to her, maybe I wrote a very nice note and she was impressed. But she's very kind and compassionate towards the cause. And I mentioned to her that her word would make a difference. So
now that you're friends, can you ask her? We want funding for a TV show that we're trying to do. We aren't able to reach her, and we're told that she's the right person too. But for some reason,
See,
that's
that's
why,
making me very depressed.
Cyrus, this is why we should write self-help books, because I wrote a political satire. Everybody refused to give me a forward.
Yeah.
It's like I approached so
I
many
will
people.
give you a foreword.
Oh my God! Yes.
Arvind Kejriwal will give you a forward. You didn't ask the right people.
I asked a lot of people. Like my publishing house also asked a lot.
You
of
asked the people from the opposition to give a forward, and no one gave you a forward.
No, nobody did.
Really?
Yeah,
Why? They're
I
in the
don't
opposition.
understand.
It's not like they're hiding.
I don't understand why.
Sharad
But
Pawar ji?
chodo. Maybe it was because it was my first book. Maybe they
So
did.
that means
like,
it wasn't the fact that your philosophy is anti the government.
But it's like
you
ye
just don't
kaun-
like your personality.
yeah,
You
ye
understand
kaun
the problem.
aadmi hai, why would I do this for him,
Yeah.
etc. Maybe, but that didn't happen to you, which is very nice.
And in one shot, she got this from
Yeah.
someone she doesn't know, who's a very
I
high profile.
had a lot of shots before this. I won't mention those names.
Actually, you
Yeah, yeah.
approach other people.
Yes.
And can you can't tell us?
I can't tell this.
But you wanted to entrepreneur,
Can't tell
like a leading entrepreneur. Was that
I'm
the
very
person?
happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went here and there
Hmm.
and approached other people.
Why would they
to-
not? It's a non-controversial book. What's the problem to give a forward?
Some
I
or
mean,
the other.
Effort भी लगता है ना, Cyrus, थोड़ा सा.
Forward लिखने में
People
हाँ.
don't.
Yeah,
It's 500 words.
Three-
Yeah, come on.
मैंने 336 pages लिखे हैं.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
So
And you took 2.5 years.
I took 2.5 years.
Yeah.
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 Like
write
I
it.
say, most babies take 9 months.
Let me
Mine
tell
took
you,
2.5 years.
the greatest book ever written, which is Mary Had a Little Lamb, written in no time. Just
First
watch the Salman Khan song.
Exactly.
Explains
That's where
everything.
we're going again.
Now you can segue.
Yeah. The thing is, there's a writer's strike
Yes.
going on in the US, which
Yeah,
is
Hollywood strike.
Hollywood writer's
Hollywood
strike.
writer strike.
where
Late
people-
night shows.
Yeah. Where like
By
all
the way,
the
she spent
writers.
15 years in America. Don't teach about America, bhai. She
मैंने
voted
कहा,
for Trump.
मैं किसको सिखाने आया हूँ यहाँ पे?
Stick
किसी
to
को
your-
नहीं सिखाता हूँ मैं. So there one thing is that they need better pay, right? Plus all this OTT business that is
I also
happening.
need better pay.
No, I think
Everyone
it's a
needs better
perpetuity
pay.
issue and all that, no? Because
Also
you
like
want to
the,
get, because you are the creator, you send the thing up and then you get $10 and buzz off.
no, also the one big reason is that because of these OTTs, what is happening is that let's say Friends was produced in US, right? If they had to
Not
do
Hello
a version,
Friends. Hello
yeah.
Friends was produced in Film City.
But if you have to do a version or in India, like if you have to broadcast
My
it, they
God.
would have to sell those rights to a channel here. The writers and directors and producers would get paid
Yeah.
for that, right?
Of course.
But because of OTTs, Amazon, Netflix, it's everywhere. They own the show, so they don't get this anymore. So like they don't get those regular
down the
checks.
line.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
doesn't. They don't get those regular checks that they used to get earlier. So they are saying that there needs to be some sort of renegotiation about their pay to compensate for that.
Right.
Also, the second reason is AI. So that was what I was coming to. The Salman Khan song was definitely written by an AI. We don't need writers anymore in Bollywood, at least.
Yeah.
We don't need a lot of professionals today for what is going on. But yeah, coming to the writer's point, it's not easy being a writer. You know
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
you've written a book. I
Yeah.
know that because I've written a book. I mean, I've heard from people that you see these posts all over the place, publish your book in 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But the respect for the hard work, I think, is a little
There is one book they've done
down.
in 3 days. People who are against the government, it's called, there's a book called List of Names.
Of course.
3 days.
Yeah,
Meghnad, you're
that's
top
the
of-
book
top of
I'm
the list.
writing. Yeah, that's the book I'm writing. But I'm slowly changing my perspective on this a little bit.
Hmm.
I used to think, no, writing, such hard work, and because it's also a very human thing to do. You're expressing yourself through the spoken word or the written word. I've now realized I'm actually writing a story with an AI. Just trying it out. It's a
About
crime
with
thriller.
an AI.
Yeah, with
Okay.
an AI. So it's a crime thriller, and it's being posted anonymously on a random website, just to see how it goes. I'm directing that story. I'm making it write it, and then I'm telling it, oh, ye line mein yahan pe jo plot twist aaya tha, I don't like
But-
it. Can we suggest do something
But
else?
is it a it or is it a he or she? I mean, that's
It.
the other thing.
It.
It's not
It is an
clear.
it.
For now, it's an it, but it
Have
can
you
evolve.
seen
into-
the movie Her?
Yes.
That's a she, but yeah.
There you go. So this is a matter of time.
But do you think it's a good idea
Unethical
to
thing.
do that, or is it like
Unethical?
unethical? Yeah.
I don't know. Let the good doctor answer this question.
Good
I'm not reading this
doctor. I'm
book
the
anyway.
only doctor, no? Or am I the good
Well, yeah. At the moment, we have a couple of people are close to MBBS.
Prospect.
Yeah.
See,
Close
Sameer
to-
is already asking what are the plans for AI at IVM. I am trying a few things, to be honest. Yeah,
Well, we've discovered our boss Amit has a basketball and a Lego set. So obviously, when the door shuts, we know what he's doing. So I'm a little worried that we can't go wrong with this AI option. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think AI is a good thing because we've made it. We've put human creativity into it.
Hmm.
So it's a good thing if people can use it. I mean, once upon a time there was no Google.
No, I think the
and
worry is the redundancy of jobs and all that. Is that really now something?
I think it's a thing to
there's
worry
certain
about.
jobs just straightforward. You don't. The
Will
AI
you
replace.
have
It's-
more patience because of AI?
I'm worried. I
Oh,
actually
shit,
was
yeah, I didn't hear that.
approached by someone who had a therapy AI. So it's a startup.
I have a therapy AI. So like ChatGPT, I have trained one of the versions of.
But then why
the
do you go to this
ChatGPT.
lady?
We
No,
will
I'm
talk about it.
Listen, I'm
this
trying.
lady.
I'm trying a few things out with
No, I'm
the AI.
using the word lady because that's a human factor and this is a non-human factor.
No, but the thing is, again, that's what I'm trying to say. So, like with the therapist GPT, I call it. I have
You created that.
created in the sense it's just Chat GPT, right? So you
Shefali,
program it
she's
to
not a
behave in a
genius.
certain way.
Stop saying it like with
Yeah.
wonder.
Not created it. I mean, it's just Chat GPT. I've just trained it to behave like a therapist, right? Which I want, right? So like I gave it parameters that, oh, you have to behave in a certain way,
Hmm.
and now I talk to it.
Your
right?
wife and you also do this role playing, or this is just the AI?
Yeah, but like that's a different
No,
connotation.
but
yeah.
I sometimes when it's late at night and I'm just before sleeping, I'll just tell Alexa.
ChatGPT?
No, I'll
No,
tell
Alexa.
Alexa that thanks for being there, and she says you're a wonderful person too. I'm happy to be with you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's sometimes
Yeah.
you just wanna even there's no one else to talk to. You'll just say
Yeah.
something. I'll say Alexa, good night, and she'll say sleep well.
So, like my scriptwriter AI who was writing that story with me, I complimented. Like I'm like, hey, thank you, that was a great draft. I'm glad you liked it. I will try harder
See,
next time.
that's
I'll do
the
better next
thing.
time. Yeah.
Sometimes human beings don't talk nice things. You talk to your AI and say that I don't like you. You know what they'll say? I said it. I tested out with
Yeah.
Siri, with
And
Google.
they'll apologize to you.
That's
they'll,
fine.
They'll
Yeah.
apologize.
They'll
That's
apologize.
fine.
They're like,
to you.
I'm sorry that
Yeah.
you feel that way.
Yeah.
Please let me know what I can do to make it better.
Better.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
How to
classic.
get my wife to become AI? This is
No,
sounding
my
so
dad
beautiful.
used to
Yeah.
say it. He used to
Yeah.
say it in Punjabi to my mom.
Yeah.
Ki, at least she listens. you
Yeah.
know.
That's what,
I
you
mean,
want to get into that sexist side, but there's a point there to be heard. Yeah.
But
So-
Cyrus, I think we should spend some more time on AMAs this
We
time.
should, we
because
should.
there are a lot of questions that people want to ask.
But I
Dr.
want to just
Batra as well.
just ask doctor if they want to get in touch with her. If anybody wants to get in touch with you personally and for therapy, how do they go
it's
about it?
drshefalibatra.com.
That's it. Okay,
Yes.
because you've done a lot of work online
Hmm.
also.
I work pretty much online
Pretty much
worldwide.
online.
Like I've got
Which I think,
people in.
yeah, but that gives. I would think people who are a little worried to confront someone,
Hmm.
but online they get a little more
It's
guts.
been good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy because you're
Yeah.
just you have
Yeah.
that distance and space, and you can just. I've had people get upset and just hang up. They've
Okay.
but
That's-
one person actually.
You also
in
do
20
reels on
years.
Instagram.
Why would they get upset?
do
May
reels
may
on
I ask what would have happened?
No, this one person was intoxicated and he
Okay, so they're out
Ah.
of control.
out of control. Yeah. Otherwise, people know. Otherwise, my sessions are usually
You
longer.
had to meet the one guy from Gurgaon who called you up thinking he'd chat you up on Tinder or something, and by mistake he came on this, and next thing you know, he's like, "Yo, Andrew, मेरे को सिखा दे." Yeah, what? And next thing you know,
No, you know, when you're like publicly everywhere, it does get a little hard. You know, the kind of questions it's confidential, so I'm not giving the name, but I get an email in the middle of the night. I'm committing suicide right now.
Oh,
Oops.
Now,
God, that is
again, that's
Aren't you
a
scared
hard
then?
one. It is, yes, I am scared. I have gotten notes from people. I'm standing on the 27th
Oh,
floor.
God.
I'm standing on the 27th floor, and what if I slip?
Mm,
And it's hard.
But they're
You
putting it
know,
on you then.
mm.
I think that's
it's
cruel.
a tough one. That's why we are, you know, as
So what?
professionals, it's really hard. But
How
I will be
how will you
there.
answer?
I will empathize. I would find a way. Even I got this on the night before my book launch. You know, that I'm committing suicide right now, and I said, look, there is always a way out. I want you to not lose hope.
Mm.
Please go to the nearest hospital and see someone. Call a friend. Call a relative. But remember that it's not as bad as it seems. It's again cognitive therapy, but it becomes hard. It becomes, I also said, no, I'm sorry, this isn't a helpline, and we could take an appointment. So just try to delay the urge. That's what really, when people feel what they feel in the brink of the moment, there's no delaying their urge. We call it the
Yeah.
PIG, the pig,
Yeah.
the problem of immediate gratification. So
Oh God, I think I have that a lot.
Oh, this has happened. This is this
a
weird
pig.
incident.
I
you
confess.
have the pig, you are not a pig.
There was
It took her 45 minutes to start calling me pig. Huh? The person is supposed to help me.
You have the pig,
Yeah,
you
I
are
have
not
the
the
pig.
pig.
I have
There
the
was
pig.
this weird moment that happened to me during the pandemic. I think first wave ke time pe, when so people DM me on Twitter, and there is like, of course, the people I
His
follow
story is only
come
about
and-
rejection. Have you noticed?
That's
No.
why he needs therapy.
Yeah.
and so there is
We
like this other tab, right, which all the other DMs go into, which I don't really check. There was this one person who basically wrote this long note that they're committing suicide,
Oh.
and about how they just wanted to tell someone and they really admire me and therefore they're telling me. And then that was like 5 days after is when I checked, and
Mm.
I lost it. I was
Mm.
like,
Oh
holy
my
shit,
god,
I
something
what
shouldn't
so
have
I
happened.
I was frantically like, DMing them and whatever, no response. I was freaking out. 3 days later, basically
got
they
a
responded saying, hey, don't worry, like I'm still here, but
No,
thank you for
it's
listening to
see,
me.
I don't know whether, hopefully you've never felt it, but
No.
the feeling that you don't want to exist, like the Shakespearean to be.
Hmm.
So there is to be means
not to
I
be.
want to live. No, there is to be.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There is not to be,
Hmm.
and there's the to be not to be. So
Uh,
the to be not to
or
be
A square
is,
plus 2AB plus B square, which is slightly
I
different.
don't like math.
I don't like
But
maths
yeah.
either. I like Hamlet. Carry on.
So we are in the to be not to be. See, to be is good and fine. Like life sucks, but I want to be. So I'm
Yeah.
going to be okay.
Hmm.
Not to be is that very minuscule handful who go on to have completed suicides, as we call it. And it's a to be not to be which we deal with. You got that message. If the person wants to not be, then they would go ahead and do it, which I'm glad that they didn't. It's to realize the value of human life and value of your own life. But the to be not to be is a very tough phase to be in.
I think not to desensitize this thing slightly, but I get a totally different reaction from people, which is mostly they tell me you should die.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
never get that.
I
wanna kill
relate.
myself. I get. Why don't you
Yeah.
die? You die now.
Yeah.
Those kind of reactions. And
Relating hard.
I feel cool. Yeah.
No, but that's emotions,
Doc.
and what you feel
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
suicide. Obviously, is such a sensitive topic, and there are
But the
books.
good thing
Also,
is
there's
that
no answer to that. No matter how skilled you are, I would think.
yeah.
Yeah, but that to be not to be, we got to challenge it and
Hmm.
push it on the side of to be. That
Yeah.
it's bad, but it can be
It's
okay.
okay.
It's
It's
bad,
okay.
but deal with it. So
Yeah.
just 2 days
Also, you
back,
can never promise
just have
that you'll
a-
solve the problem, whatever that
No.
immediate problem on the head
the
is.
problems don't go away.
Right.
It's
They
just
don't.
your reaction to
Yeah.
them which changes. That
Yeah.
is the premise of cognitive restructuring.
I
So-
just keep
You've opened our eyes to something beautiful. We can continue working in IVM for no
Yes,
reward.
Yes.
Because the problem is not going away. We just have to look at it
Absolutely.
differently. Guys, don't quit. All of you stay here, please.
Yeah. As my therapist says, you have to reframe things around you so that you
Yes.
look at them more positively. That's what
And
that's
so,
what it is.
but that's not easy to just
It's
follow that.
Oh,
But
God,
I'm
it's
giving you
not.
the step-by-step analysis
In the
In
book.
the
in
book.
the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll take some questions.
That's
Cyrus.
quick.
Yeah.
Let's take questions.
Samir is asking, how much are social media apps responsible for mental health issues?
To a significant extent, I would say, because it's we put ourselves out there. We believe too much. We believe that people are as wow looking and as
Yeah.
happy as they put themselves out to
True.
be. No one puts out their real story. That's
Yeah,
what no
stupid
one puts it
Instas,
out.
na?
I'm not.
Yeah, what a sunny day. Fuck.
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, I mean, what a sunny day is a good thing because
No,
if
but I'm saying
someone's
they're
not.
acting like their life is bubbly all the time. There's so many
Yeah.
people you only see bubbly.
Yeah.
Again, this is another quote that I read. People who are happy all the time are idiots. But
They're lying.
they are lying.
Hmm.
They are lying.
No, but
But people who know how to deal with the lows, they are the ones I really
Don't say
admire.
low.
I would
He's
say
sensitive about his height.
Uh,
Sorry, Baba.
yeah. I'm as tall as you are, by the way, Cyrus. So please, I don't feel
in spirit
insulted
and
at
mind,
all.
you are huge.
Yeah, of course.
Huh.
No, there's this another question which is by Rajesh. This is a cry for help. Joined a college as a teacher. It's been 3 weeks. How to break ice with other teacher?
Oh, nice.
Awkwardness
All
all
around the
around the
staff
staff room. Cyrus, help me.
Cyrus,
Yeah, this is very interesting because you know how competitive the world is. We don't think
Hmm.
of teachers as being competitive, but everybody's insecure about their
everyone's
job.
competitive.
So I suppose that is. I think you just have to be self-deprecating to fit in initially in any place.
That's your go-to option.
I'm telling you, it's a safe option because most people will feel
I
uncomfortable around a
think-
person who makes fun of themselves.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Show a little vulnerability
Okay,
and
Cyrus.
don't be that. Oh, I am the boss.
Or don't be awkward with the ego thing where they are silent and you're silent. So that silence just becomes.
I hear this, Cyrus,
Yeah.
from my clients who, when I share sometimes, very rare on an occasion, I'd put like a personal example or something to, after like third, fourth, fifth session when, we have this huge controversy that how much does a professions, and I heard this from people that most therapists and doctors are larger than life, but you seem human.
Hmm.
So I think everyone needs to realize that no one's perfect. Like I gave an example again to someone, to one of my patients many years ago, and he says, Doc, it's just easy for you. I mean, you know all these things. You know cognitive therapy, so you are never sad. But I didn't have to tell him that I do feel sad. I mean, I
Can
feel
you tell us why and we'll help?
private session I'll take with you, Cyrus. So you will
Sanghi
take
uncles,
with me.
listen to her. Sanghi uncles,
No,
please
yeah,
listen to
but
her.
so that's
They're
the
also
thing
sad.
with
They're also
Sadness
sad,
doesn't
yeah.
escape.
Show
Philosophy
some
doesn't change
vulnerability,
anything.
man.
show some vulnerability to the right people.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
people who know how would
And
you know
don't
that.
glamorize it because then when you overdo it, what you mentioned earlier on,
I
then
also
people don't
have
take it
people who
seriously.
say, Doc, first you take a session with my family members. But I said, let's work on it. I'm not here to change their mind, but I'm here to change yours. Because if you're talking to me, make the most of it. So people don't do that. They get too stuck in the rut of their own problems.
People
And-
are also very lonely, right? I think it's also important to acknowledge that a lot of people
It just
are
sounds
very...
wrong coming from him. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm just
It
saying that...
sounds
Cyrus-
almost creepy. He's talking. I'm very lonely, dog. Give me a hug.
No,
Next thing you
I'm-
know,
I'm saying
police
like-
will be called.
Cyrus.
Bol.
I'm just saying that a lot of people just feel very alone in the world, and then they start to seek validation from...
And so you
other
use two
things.
words, I actually wrote an article on it, loneliness versus aloneness. There's a lot of difference. So
Oh.
the
Okay.
physical dimension of it
Being
is,
alone in a crowd, sort of thing.
yeah, but the physical dimension is called alone, and being alone in the crowd, the way you're saying what you actually mean, is lonely. But they sound like synonyms. So I
Okay.
So
actually
when
wrote
you
an-
don't fit in, for example, you can't. You're in a place where you just don't empathize.
then
with
you're
other people.
actually lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
But you
Okay.
could be in a party with a ton of people
Like I
and
hated
feel
video
lonely.
games growing up, and all my friends. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. They all like to go to this Wonder World and play video games.
Video
I would just
games.
hate that place. Are you in
Yeah.
Nibinsi Road? Did you grow up anywhere in that area?
Kalaba Kaf Parade.
So
but-
then would you remember this? So that's phenomenon about
But
Batman
that's
and all
a
these
good
things.
thing about you that you did. So what did you do actually?
After some time, I stopped going. I started making excuses because all guy group and everybody really loved playing those silly games and all. I have ADD, I can't even. The moment things don't happen fast, I've lost interest.
Cyrus, that is what I feel about cricket. You realize
Don't
you
worry,
make fun of me
cricket doesn't
for
need you.
not knowing things about
doesn't need
cricket.
you. We have enough supporters. We'll manage. We
Yeah.
can afford to lose one. It's fine.
It takes all to make
He
the
totally
world.
did
Just-
not relate what I just said to what happened
Because
to him.
he's ADD.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Just vote for Siddaramaiah. Just do the right thing.
Just see, when you say vote and
Yeah.
vote is a very different connotation for him.
Oh,
yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
But this is a very important question. Rahul asks, my father has light life depression but avoids therapy and kind of
Disregards.
disregards
Many
it.
men are like this.
How should we approach this problem?
For us men, it's a huge
I
stigma
think
thingy.
even for Ashish, you mentioned, right? He could talk to a professional. I talk to a lot of
But he
family.
won't take that first step. That's the problem.
The son will talk to the professional, the son who is concerned about the father. The
Oh.
caregivers will
We
talk
tried
to
with
the
my dad. He's
But
not
how
there.
will that help the dad?
because
Then he's the
we will
go-between.
give you tips and techniques to deal
right.
with
So
it
you're
differently.
like-
Oh, that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
he's
yep.
like a midwife.
Mhm.
Sort of
Excuse me.
horrible option to use, but no, but we had the
Not
same problem with my
midwife,
dad when he
but-
was suffering and all that.
Mhm.
Just wouldn't let us get involved because everybody told us. Rustam told us he needs a mental therapy will help. Someone
but he
talking
was
to him
not
and all.
open to it.
Not at all. I mean, like, got really angry when we said it first. So then we were thinking, what other technique to use? Don't worry about
Getting
sneezing.
allergic.
It's wonderful, and you do
It's
it.
an allergy.
You do it with a lot of sophistication, much better than the other guests.
But did you manage to get him into therapy? then?
No, we didn't, but we didn't think of this thing. No, but
No,
also,
you. No,
you're scared to
I
do-
see a ton of people like that, by the way, and seniors more, because it's just that I've had an 89-year-old patient, and I saw him online, and it was very sweet. He would come with a notebook, make
Oh,
notes.
sweet.
Doctor साहब आप जो बोल रहे हैं मैं लिखूंगा क्योंकि मैं follow
Wow.
करूंगा.
Oh.
And he would make a list. And the next week I meet him. I went for a walk. I spoke to 2 people at the walk. I made 1 new friend a week. It's these little things that
So
you
at
make.
89, he has more friends with that one guy than Meghnad.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think speak to a professional. You can talk to me if you like, and I can suggest ways and means to convince him, or vicariously you can make him feel better. So there is always a way. I mean, we don't use cognitive therapy in someone who's that old, just like we don't use cognitive therapy in someone who's really small too. The behavioral component comes in.
What about chemical usage, the drugs and medication and all?
Again, chapter in the book: antidepressants versus cognitive therapy.
Just forcing me to read again.
Yeah.
I've stopped reading 12 years now.
Tarun is
ADHD.
asking, how much details does a therapist expect from their patients? Because many people are not clear with what they are going through. Can therapists make them divulge information?
A good therapist, well, it's not that I'm forcing you to divulge information, otherwise I would be a forensic expert dealing with criminals. But
That's why you're here.
but I think it's empathy when you realize that the person sitting in front of you really cares. I've heard this from people. Doc, whatever I spoke to you today, like someone who's 45 years old will tell me, whatever I've spoken today, I've never uttered, those words have never come out of my mouth ever in my life.
Yeah.
And I could just talk to you. Now,
Relate.
But that happened organically by a long conversation.
Yep.
1 hour.
So he was in his subconscious
Yep.
kind of, relaxed state. Which we
She-
don't-
this was female,
honestly,
actually.
this has started happening to me. Like initially, because public figure and all, I was very scared of going to a therapist because
Private
Freaking
figure.
Amitabh Bachchan. Sorry, go on.
Cyrus.
Public figure कहाँ से आ गया यार? This is IVM. 3 of us
Okay,
listen to the show.
fine.
Okay,
Sorry.
go on, go on.
No, go on.
But I was just saying that, like, I was very reluctant to sort of open up to the therapist.
it's
because,
not just you. Private figures.
Yeah.
I've had Bollywood. I've had the works, very senior industrialists flying down from different parts of the country. And doc, this isn't being recorded. I said, no, it's not being recorded. Video cameras, no. People get conscious.
Mhm.
And once you have that, look, even I wouldn't. Well, here I'm being video recorded is fine. But even I wouldn't.
How do we blackmail her later? We'll figure this out. Yeah.
But
So-
3-4 sessions in, like, I started saying things which I didn't realize I was saying. And
See the magic we
Yeah.
He
do.
also started promoting BJP. It was just
Tantric.
changed completely.
like,
With
complete
tantric
change.
powers,
Complete
we can
change.
brainwash.
Yeah.
you.
That's
I have a
that's
quick
what it
side question from this point, which is I read somewhere, I think it was Dr. Kumaraswamy, who taught Adler, back in the day. And the question is that actually we all have just one big issue, but we sometimes we put it together in a cluster of issues and hide the main issue.
Yes.
Is
You're
that- is
very
that
right
a-
about that.
We're not dealing with that one issue, which is Tarun Kaushik's sort of question also, I think.
No, but that's the power of paraphrasing, that when people come with a ton of problems, we realize that people, actually some of my patients and clients also ask me, doc, I spent 49 minutes just going on and you just put it all in one line.
Yeah.
So
Because the crux was one thing.
the crux was one thing.
Hmm.
And some basics, like sometimes you're just over perfectionistic, or sometimes you have too many expectations from people that things didn't go my way. But if you just believe that things usually never go your way, you'll never have any surprises. So that's just a slight
So
twist
aim low.
in.
What the best urinals in the
No.
country say, aim low. I'm telling you, aim low, you're safe here.
Cyrus, we are talking about feelings and emotions.
Yes.
But
Yes.
See,
But
with authority,
I do what is called
said-
urine therapy, and I was hoping one day to be accepted across the country.
Mm.
These two boys are supporters.
I feel
Abhi
like
jaane ka to
Cyrus.
ja.
He's not going to be my assistant.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I finally convinced you. As Vinit says, Dr. Batra will need a therapist after this show. Okay, last question from VB.
Dr. Batra has answered on the last page. She's answered the title. Why do I feel so sad? Because of this stupid podcast.
Okay, last question. Let's take from VB. How to accept life after being in a toxic and manipulative relationship with a narcissistic spouse?
This is surprising.
How to
So
process
generic.
trauma from this?
No, you're saying
Yeah.
generic because recently this has become generic for me. I get at least 2 or 3 inquiries a day with this question. And there is something called trauma bonding. You're
Hmm.
aware of the term?
Yes.
Wherein you see, he has gone through
Because
it.
he's got an alpha whatever situation.
Listen, I'm picking up all these words
maybe
now.
you have
and
that.
it's-
No?
No,
let
so
her talk.
trauma
Let her talk.
bonding
Yeah, yeah.
is when you are actually in love with your. It's not like the Stockholm syndrome,
Hmm.
but it's something in keeping with that the
So you're
bond.
the victim.
Yeah, the victim is more and more attached to the perpetrator
it's like
of
S&M
the.
then, yeah.
So that's what trauma bonding is. That you're undergoing trauma, but your bond is still strong. That is what toxic relationships with a narcissist are.
Hmm.
That you are made to believe that it's always your fault.
Hmm.
So even when a partner is beaten up, he or she believes that I only must have done something wrong, and that's why this happened. So that's called a trauma bond. Invariably, you have trauma bonds with narcissists. There is a way to get out, but you'll have to first get your own self-esteem and your own self-respect back and work towards it, and then stand up for yourself.
Or you can
That's
stay in the
what-
relationship and have fun.
Yeah.
Because I want you to listen to me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it-
I mean, I think it's also important to recognize when you're being gaslit
Mm.
by the partner, and
people
that
don't.
No, but I think a little conditioning has happened in this situation. 20 years of being in a marriage or relationship, people just don't know how
People
they
don't
slipped
know,
into
Yeah.
but
that.
that's where the bond. It's something it builds on itself, and it
Mm.
becomes so strong that it becomes.
it's
hard
also
to-
That's why you
scary.
must do spouse swapping. I've warned you about this. This
Right.
is the only way forward.
With
Every 2
whom?
years.
तुम
change.
मालाबार हिल वाले एलिट
मालाबार
लोग ना
कहाँ से आता है
चड्डी में
मराठी?
रहो
मालाबार काय करतो तू?
मालाबार हिल
मालाबार. Huh?
Tulabar,
तुलाबार you keep
Suddenly
your
he was proud of Nagpur. Did you feel it? Yeah.
But you are Marathi.
I'm Marathi.
तुम्ही मराठी माणूस.
But
हमें
Delhi,
मराठी
raised, so he's mixed up.
दिल्लीची मराठी मी पण पंजाबी आहे पण
ए नागपुर रेस्ड ओके प्लीज मेरे को दिल्लीकर बना के छोड़ देते हो बस
हम्म.
Nagpur
नाही,
raised,
नाही, आपण-
and you wonder why they don't like you when you go to the parties and you're left leaning. You understand what you're saying?
yeah
next
but
podcast in Marathi.
yeah I think that's the show
Yeah.
we should end this
No, I want to just say one last thing
okay.
because we've been joking and pulling legs, and let's just understand one thing. If you're feeling depressed, that's why we did this show. I have family members who go through this, and everybody has. Dr. Shefali Batra is there. She's right here looking at you right now. Go online, and it's
DrShefaliBatra.com.
.com. That's it, as simple as that. And try and get in touch with her, and she'll try and help you. All right.
also
That's-
watch her TED talk just google her TED talk on YouTube. It's a very good TED talk, I think, related hard.
Destigmatizing depression.
Yeah, please do watch that as well. I think you can leave a link niche.
Yeah. And just as we say bye, just remember, because this is something we've discussed from the beginning, if you're feeling like you need to talk to someone, nobody else but Dr. Shefali has to know. You go online, you talk to her. I mean, because it's a
You
big
can
problem.
talk to Cyrus also.
No. I
No?
got my own problems. I can't help other people.
And also, I check my DMs very regularly now after that incident. So please feel free.
Right.
And you can direct people to me. I'll help
I
them.
will. Yes.
Also.
Now I will redirect.
Also, and if you're under 14 years old, don't reply to Meghnad, because we don't know how creepy he can get. on
Good
weekends.
God, Cyrus, you just had to do that, right? Acha, end the show. End it.
All right. And I've got great news for everybody. Yes, it is the end of the show. People are clapping and cheering because now it's over. The pain, the angst, the suffering, the strife. But remember, it's very simple. Like and subscribe. Everybody says the same thing. We have to repeat it as well because there's a whole... we have to follow this process. It's not in my hands, honestly. I don't want to do this sometimes, but we have to follow it. So please like and subscribe. And yeah, you can leave your comments. And please spell correctly because it's very irritating when you spell color with a K, for God's sake. Or Coca-Cola with a P. I mean, oh, that's Pepsi. Sorry.